Is Matt going to present this? Yeah, Stephen? Okay. Sports jacket and tie. Don't get too excited. Good. Smithville Board of Alderman work session is called to order. We have one item on the agenda, discussion of schedule of fees. Mr. Larson.
Sure, the clicker works okay. Just press. Press that to get it to work.
By John's forehead. Sorry, we have technology challenges. It's our first time using this stuff.
Let's see. Okay, well, it's a pleasure to come to you tonight to present our fiscal year 2022 fee changes. As we go through this presentation, we'll look at our proposed changes to the schedule of fees for all our fees except our utility fees. In the upcoming work session and next session in August, we'll address our utility fees when we take a deeper dive into the water and wastewater fund and talk about projects. In the meantime, we'll look at the rest of the schedule and tonight's proposed changes. Unless otherwise specified, staff is proposing to make these fee changes and make them effective November 1st of 2021. And of course, open to input from the board on that. So let's go ahead and start our presentation tonight by looking at our Parks and Rec proposed fees. See, we have the kickball picture there and the successful city kickball team. And so as we look at our Parks and Rec fees, we'll look at our athletic field fees first. Staff is proposing that we take a look at those athletic field fees and specifically discuss increasing our practice fees without the use of lights from $10 per field per hour to $15 per field per hour for 22. And then in addition to that, also adding a practice fee for participants that want to use lights at the field. Right now, our listing doesn't have that specific fee. We'd be proposing to add a $25 per field per hour fee there. And then finally, we do have a game fee that we'd be proposing to eliminate. And we'd be adding a tournament fee, which we'll see on the next slide. Just as a comparison though, when we looked at our fees for our athletic field fees, we did some comparison to some surrounding jurisdictions. We looked at Kearney, Missouri, which specifically charges $35 to use the field per hour, and then an additional $35 per hour if they want to use lights. We looked at Platte City, which charges $15 per hour without lights, and then an additional $25 per hour with lights. And we also looked at Excelsior Springs, which charges $10 an hour to use the field and additional $25 for lights. So when we looked at that data and came up with this proposal, we felt that we were comparable to some of the surrounding cities. And as I said, we will eliminate the game fee. And in lieu of the game fee, staff is proposing to have a tournament fee, which would be a fee for participants having all-day tournaments and different types of games that would take up most of the day. For the tournament fee, again, we would do a lights and a without lights option. Without lights, proposing to do $100 per field per day and moving that to $150. So it's essentially 10 hours at the same rate as practice. And then when you move on to the tournament fee with the use of lights, we don't currently have that fee in place. We'd be proposing to do $250 per field per day. Included in that fee is the work that it would take to do field dragging and chalking to get the tournament and the field ready to play with lines and everything it needs to take to do a game. So that'd be a part of the tournament fee. If you have questions as we go, I'm welcome to ask them on the fly. And then we also have Matt Denton to ask any technical questions, get answers on those. Next, we'll look here at the adult recreation fee. So like I said there with our kickball, we're proposing to add a kickball tournament fee to our schedule of fees. Right now, the listing does not have that fee in the schedule. And we'd be proposing to set that fee on an annual basis, depending on costs for referees and the cost to put the game on. In addition, with our adult rec fees, specifically our gravel grinder bike race, our schedule currently outlines that race with different miles, 25-mile race, 50-mile race, 80-mile race. It assigns specific amounts to charge for each of those races. Staff is proposing that we let go of that arrangement and set that fee on an annual basis, depending on the cost that it takes to put on the race and differences in the mileage and how long the race will be each year. And then finally, the city previously used to have a number of runs, including a 5K run, a dog run, and a 1 mile dog run. And we're proposing to go ahead and eliminate those fees from the schedule since we don't sponsor or hold those events anymore. And then on the last slide for adult recreation fees, we have a softball and volleyball league that we currently charge $500 for a team for softball, $200 for volleyball. Staff is proposing that we build some flexibility into those fees and go ahead and eliminate them and rather set the fee on an annual basis so that we can set that fee as costs and supplies necessitate a certain expense to hold those leagues. The next set of fees is our shelter house rental fees. This proposed change really is a clarification and a housekeeping in the listing. We have a number of shelter houses in Smithville, include the Heritage Parks Shelter, the Smiths Fork Park Shelter, and also the shelter down at Helvey Park. We're proposing just to kind of clean up the schedule and make it easier for someone who's looking to identify the cost to do a shelter house rental fee and just have that listed at $50 a day. The next fee that Parks and Rec is proposing to add is a new fee that we call an event application fee. This event application fee would be a fee that's charged for those who would fill out an application to have a tournament in town, to have an event on a designated green space, which is a new fee type and event opportunity that we're proposing, and also for those who want to apply to have an event at Courtyard Park. The real goal of introducing this fee to the schedule is to encourage our event applicants to fully complete the application in its entirety. And it also helps recoup staff time for processing and reviewing that application, since that can take quite a bit of time to do that. So together that $25 covers not only staff time, but it also at least allows a little bit of skin in the game for the applicant, make sure that they get that application filled out at a good quality level and completed in its entirety. Again, that's for tournaments, green space events, Courtyard Park events would be the proposal.
How often do they start the application and then just have issues finishing it? Does that happen often or?
Question, Matt? Good.
Yeah, the recent applications that have been turned in this fiscal year currently have been incomplete applications with missing a lot of important information that is outlined in the application itself.
I can't hear who's talking.
Thanks,
Yep.
Steve.
Yep. Yeah, so this fiscal year, we've had multiple applications that have come in incomplete, missing. We have, the outline application for events, and those are coming in incomplete. And it's us reaching out to them multiple times and setting up those meetings and getting those information over email.
Is $25 enough for that, or should you just start rejecting them when they're not complete?
Currently, we've helped kind of make the process a little different. So right now, they were paying as soon as they turn in the application. Now we're waiting until we have reviewed and approved them before they pay.
So they pay the fee when they drop it off and then
That's
they
currently
pay the
what they
rest.
were, yeah.
Okay.
Next fee that Parks and Rec is proposing to add would be new green space event fees. And so listed on the slide here, you can see at this time, we don't charge a fee or there's no associated fee in place to have an event on a green space. And so what staff is doing is we're proposing that we outline 3 specific areas in Smithville that would be available to rent. Include the Heritage Park green space, the northeast corner, northeast of the ball field area. Helvey Park green space that's west of the pond or lake. And then a couple areas out at Smith's Fork. And we have those locations outlined in the staff report and in a red box so that you can see where those are. The fee scheme would follow the Courtyard Park fees where you have $100. You see here on this slide, this is for public events. So we'd have $100 for a public event at any of those spaces with the $200 damage deposit in case something happens out there during the event on the city land. And then on the next slide, we have specifically fees set aside for private events. Again, it follows the Courtyard Park logic where we're charging $250 for the private events. Next set of fees that Parks and Rec is proposing is to look at the campground fees and propose a change from $35 a night to $40 a night for overnight stays at the campground. So as you all know, we've done a lot of work out at Smith's Fork Campground. We've completed the phase 1 electrical upgrades, which has provided a better electrical service, water and sewer hookups out there. In the fiscal year 2022 budget, we're looking to complete phase 2 and phase 3 of those upgrades. So we'd have our campground fully upgraded at that point, providing better amenities to the campsite. And just as a comparison, Clay County currently charges $40 a night for their overnight stays, and it's anticipated that their fees could go up as well. So at $35 a night, bringing that to $40, we still remain comparable and competitive to Clay County at that rate, and we have excellent campsites for use.
Can you go back a couple of slides? We missed one. We missed talking about one. 2 more. Oh, go forward. There you go. It went up, but we didn't talk to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, let me go back to that. Yeah, so Parks and Rec is proposing changes or the addition of what you'd call a park event service fee. This would be a new add-on fee of $30 an hour that you would have for an event. It would consist of city staff coming to the event and providing trash service and restroom cleaning for the event. It would ensure that if you attend an event in Smithville, that when you visit the restroom, they're clean, they're in great shape. When you go to throw away your trash, the trash cans are have been serviced and there's room in them to put the trash. It really just makes for a better quality event. At this time, we're proposing that it's an add-on option for the event rather than a mandatory fee. But if event organizers are going to choose to forego that option, they need to remember that they're having an event on a city asset. They need to take good care of the restrooms. They need to make sure the trash is picked up. They need to make sure that the space is looking good. So at this time, it's an add-on fee at $30 an hour to help recoup staff member costs
I think
for the event.
I think for a one-day event, it's fine to be optional, but for a multi-day event, it should be mandatory because we've had trash left overnight on multi-day events and the bathrooms look like, they're trashed.
Yeah.
And that's a reflection on us, not on the event organizer when people see it.
Right.
So if they're having a 3-day event on the square, we want the bathrooms to be in good shape for people coming up here, right? We don't want it. 1 day event's manageable because we're probably cleaning the day before and the day after anyway, but you know, some sort of minimum on a multi-day event.
Yeah, I like that idea. I also just want to make it clear that if they are going to waive this fee for a 1 day event, that, you know, the expectation is city staff is not available to them
Yeah.
for this stuff. So that needs to be made very clear.
Yep.
I also want to ensure that our intent was that if it is not, if they waive that fee and staff goes back to inspect and the restrooms are not in the state that they were left, that they would be charged the,
Comes out of the deposit.
Deposit,
Yeah, the
yeah.
deposit can cover one
Right.
day, but not a 3 or 4 day. Yeah.
Is there a minimum or maximum? Like if it's a 2 day event, are they paying $30 for 8 hours? Or is it just for them to come
No,
and
I
go
mean-
and check?
I think it could be minimal as, 2 hours a day. Just check trash, check
Yeah.
bathroom. Yeah, no, 8 hours is a lot, but yeah, but it's. No, I mean, morning and evening, right? Like before the event and after the event is reasonable.
Yeah.
A 60 to 90 charge per day.
Yeah, I think you'd want to have the staff out there enough that they're checking at good intervals, but also spending enough time out there, making
Yeah,
sure
'cause
that
if it-
trash isn't piling up.
If they don't fire up until noon.
Yeah.
Or if it's something like where there's a concert from 6 to midnight, your bathroom's gonna get dirty quicker. And we might want somebody on staff the whole time. Yeah.
and I think, sorry, excuse me, that's something that we could also negotiate, not negotiate, but we know the hourly charge and have conversations and expectations with the organizers. One of the things we plan to do is spend some additional time in making sure we understand what the events are, the expectations on both sides. And one of those could include that cleaning and those intervals so that people know. And so there might be some on those longer term events, coordination between staff and volunteers. Volunteers could get
Yep.
trashed to central locations and staff to clear them or things like that. We could have those
Yeah,
discussions.
I think it's a value add for an event because you're always looking for people to clean anyway. So you have somebody that's used to doing it, knows the place and knows the stuff. And we got supplies, I mean, right? So. Shoot, I paid $30 for somebody to clean my bathroom. There you go, privatizing that. Start. You can do city hall too. It's on the agenda.
We can revise the schedule then based upon that input and put in something regarding a mandatory amount of hours for multi-day events.
Yep.
At different intervals, so.
We're not cleaning porta potties though. Just our bathrooms, right?
Okay, we'll switch gears here from Parks and Rec and we'll look at the proposed fee changes for solid waste that Chuck Souls from Public Works has helped facilitate with our new contract. So at this time, we have a solid waste monthly charge of $19.90 per month. As we discussed in the work session on May 18th, we've had negotiations with GFL to renegotiate a new contract, and that's resulted in the ability to reduce our monthly trash charge. So you see on the table here that staff is proposing to reduce that charge from $19.90 a month down to $18.37 a month. So that's a reduction of $1.53 or about 8% off that bill. And remember that even with that reduction, as we talked about in the work session, we're still able to maintain good quality services, same level of solid waste, yard waste, recycling pickup, and 2 bulky item collection events for the year. The other aspect of that, besides reducing the rate, is looking at adding a 15% senior discount that would be available for utility account holders ages 65 and older. So that 15% would be applied to the new rate of $18.37 a month. And so when you do that math, you'd be that account holder would be saving about $2.76 on their bill. So it's a pretty good reduction there on the senior discount. Any questions on that?
No. Good job, Chuck.
And then the final proposed fee change for tonight comes from development. So Development Department worked with them to take a look at their fees. And really this final proposed change is a housekeeping and more of a communication and clarification in the listing. Right now in the listing, we have fees that are set up for service connection tap fees for the different meters that you see up there. We've got $75, $100, $120 for the various meter sizes. This proposed change is to just add some additional language to the schedule that in conjunction with that tap fee, when you're building a new residence or building a new property, when you go to input the meter and all the supplies that are associated with that construction, there is a fee charge for that. It does fluctuate based upon the cost of supplies, copper, meter charges, those sorts of things. And we just want to specifically outline that if you do want to get the latest cost on that, that you can consult Development Department and our permit technicians to get those latest costs. I just didn't want to leave it out of the listing, but clarify that it's available upon request. That concludes the proposed fee changes. Any other questions from the board on the proposed fees? Have your input on the staffing service fee, which is great.
Anybody? Steve, you good?
I'm good.
Thank you. Alderman Atkins, Hartman.
No, I just want to thank you, Stephen, for putting this together. We had the opportunity, Marv and I last week, Finance Committee, to listen in. So good job on that. I know it's a lot of work seeing what surrounding communities do. And I appreciate that research. So it sets kind of a baseline for us.
I'll pass that on to Matt too, because he did a lot of some of the comparable work. So
Thanks, Matt, too.
Chevalier,
I like it. Thank you.
Shabilsky,
I approve. I think it's great. Thanks for all your hard work.
Uladol's gone. We're good. Anything else?
Mayor, I might just jump in, as Stephen had indicated, we'll incorporate this information. Then the next step would be actual approval of the amendments to the schedule of fees that you all would do in conjunction with the budget process for implementation November 1.
Yep. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Marv was the first.
Yeah.
So moved.
All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. See y'all in like 7 minutes. Yeah, just hold it down. Or you can leave it hot if you want. You're not gonna randomly yell.